sure. Got some I ain't brought no lemonade.
You got your bottle of water down there for you.
Yeah.
I got one that's open already, my bad. All right,
Let's see. Okay. Appreciate that.
Nah, no worries.
Shalom, Hosea. Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Brothers and sisters, shalom, brews in the chat. Shalom. Shalom. Yaakov. Yashikar. Kind of got out of work, man, a little late, man. So shalom, brother Lamar. Just pressed for time. I didn't even make it to school. You see, the background's a little different today. All right. Shalom, house of Yaakov. Shalom. We're going into talking about these children today, man. Hopefully, man, brothers and sisters can get edified, man. These children were important things, man. Especially dealing with Israel, man.
God.
Children is very important. So we will kind of touch on it today concerning our children, man, because just think about it, man. When we was 40 years in the wilderness and the Lord was trying us, if we didn't have children, we wouldn't even make it to the promised land.
God.
Right? Shalom, twins, they in this thing one time, man.
Yeah.
For real though. First precept we getting into today is Exodus chapter 1. We'll start at verse 1. On the Exodus chapter 1, we'll start at verse 1. Come on with it, hood. Ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir.
First precept we go on to Exodus chapter 1, verse 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel.
Right, read.
Which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob.
So it's going to go into naming the 12 tribes, right? And through the 12 tribes, this is how we get the Lord started to bless. This is how the Lord started all the blessings and all the cursings through a generation of people, right? Through a lineage of people, right?
God.
Going in with all the 12 tribes. Verse 2, 3, 4, right? Goes through all the tribes. Let's read it.
Verse 2. Reuben,
Simeon,
Levi, and Judah.
And Judah, read.
Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin.
Read on.
Dan,
Read on.
and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher.
So guess what? These were the 12 tribes that came, that the Lord presented to come out of Egypt, right? Being that the Lord had these people to come out of Egypt, he wanted us to make sure that we was in the right frame, in the right state of mind, right?
God.
Read on.
Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
So it's everybody that came out the loins of Jacob was 70 souls. That was a lot. That was including 12 tribes and what else? Grandchildren.
God.
Right? There was the 12 tribe plus grandchildren. But read on.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
So Joseph died, and he said all his brothers and all generation. So if you know anything about what's going on right now, you'll know that it talks about the children of Israel that's come out of Egypt, but it also talks about Joseph. Joseph being what? Joseph was the second in command in Egypt upon the Pharaoh, right? Because Pharaoh raised him up because he was just like our forefather King. He was just like our forefather Daniel. He can interpret dreams, right? So and it ended up saving Pharaoh a lot, and that's how he ended up getting his ranking in, right?
God.
And that's how the Lord even blessed us to become a strong nation, because if we would have hearkened and we would have played the role and would have kept being good slaves in Egypt, then we wouldn't know where in the hell we wanted to come out.
God.
Right? But let's keep reading though.
Verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful.
And the children of Israel were fruitful. Right? Meaning what? They had a lot of kids.
God.
So now you bring this up into today. Are the children of Israel, do they have a lot of children now? They don't. It's, guess what? You'll see in the time of Moses, in the time of Moses, all the way to Christ, you will see that we had a lot of children, right? And those children, they had a lot of children too. But you don't see families like 12 people and 14 people and 15 people out of a family like it used to be.
God.
Right? But it took those 15 people that they made in the family back then to have each individual one have 10, 15. Right? I mean, and guess what? And each individual one, right? 5 kids is a little. 12 was the average. That's right. 12 to 15 was the average. Back in the day, 12 to 15 was the average.
Yeah.
That was a blessing. You read so many times in the scriptures how people had 60 and 70 and 80 and like they had a lot of children, man.
God.
Right? But nowadays, shit, if a sister have 6 kids or 7 kids, oh shit, that's shunned upon.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's read on. What we at? Verse 8.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt.
Read.
Which knew not Joseph.
Which knew not Joseph, meaning what? They forgot how Joseph was the interpreter of dreams.
Mm-hmm.
How Joseph saved Egypt in the time of calamity. Right?
That sounds about right.
They forgot about those things, man.
God.
Right? So they rose up a new king that didn't know Joseph, right?
Mm-hmm.
But read.
Verse 9. And he said unto his people,
What he say?
Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
So guess what? So they see the children of Israel, they say, damn, they more and mightier than we. The same thing we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
We still more and mightier than them. And this never changed. Right? So if just think about it like this. If we not having 12 and 13 and 14, 15 kids, Esau damn sure ain't having 12, 13, 14, 15 kids. Right?
Barely have one.
That's why when you buy a package, they say, "Oh, I'm gonna sell you a family pack." And guess how many come in a family pack? For 4.
God.
They have mother and father and the 2 children. They always have a family pack, right? For 4, right? But in this time, what it say? The children of Israel, they was more and mightier than the Egyptians, right? Let's read.
God. Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
So guess what? What did they have to do when they seen that us as a nation that we was a fruitful nation and we loved our children and we cared about our people? The Lord said, the Egyptians said, you know what? Let's deal wisely with them. Mm-hmm. Meaning what? Let's try to put them in a trick bag, right?
God.
Read.
Least they multiply,
mm-hmm.
and it comes to pass that when they're fallen out of any war,
mm-hmm.
they join also unto our enemies.
So they said, look, man, we better put this thing in check, because if, say for instance, man, we get into it with one of their people that say for instance, they like the enemy, and if they ain't on our side, guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna take the enemy side. They're gonna overthrow us.
God.
Right? But let's read it.
And fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So they were saying, get them up out of the land. So, meaning what? Did they kick them out? Did they want to kick them out of the land of Egypt? Hell no.
Mm-mm.
Meaning what? They take their might from them.
God.
Right? Verse 11.
Verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
So guess what? And it's the same thing right now. We are more and mightier than any nation in the world, right? But the other nations can control us because they divide and conquer us, right? And as they divide and conquer us, guess what they do? They put taskmasters over us.
God.
Why do you think? Guess what? It was 300 Negroes in the cotton field, 300 goddamn Hispanics in the cotton field. Guess what? And guess what happened? They got one white man on a horse, and he controlled every one of them. Guess what they do right now? They got 300 Negroes in a warehouse, and they got one white man walking around. He's the supervisor.
God.
It's mighty funny that that thing happened like that, right? That's what they do, though. That's exactly what they do. They got all these. They got these foods over us. You know what I'm saying? So, but what they doing? They dealing wisely with us, right? Even to this day, they still deal wisely with us. But let's read up.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities. Read.
Pithom and Ramses.
They built Pithom and they built Ramses. Meaning what? We are the one that built up Egypt. So when you go over there, look at the pyramids, you go look at all of those structures, guess what? Brothers and sisters right beside that thing, built cities, Egypt.
God.
So when y'all go to look at all those structures and everything on the caves and the walls, that was us. We did this. Hey, Shabbat, you seen the pictures of Africans, and then you see pictures of Israelites with fringes on, and they whooping us, and they beating us, and they making us work.
God.
Right? But let's read on.
Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them.
See, but watch this. It says, but the more they afflicted us, read.
The more they multiplied and grew.
What did that mean? Let me see what brothers and sisters. I want brothers and sisters, turn your spiritual eyes on. It said the more that they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. I want brothers think spiritually on this. What do y'all think that mean? We on Exodus chapter 1, verse 12. It says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. Let me see what you talking about. What you think it means?
The more they stressed us out, the more we, you know what I'm saying, multiply, made more children. The more they tried to take opportunity for us away, the most I blessed our fruit.
You got to think about what is read, what we read. Having kids to get food stamps. That's a semester. I want y'all to go deeper in it though. See, the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. Brother Moses got it. I just needed a real sharp, quick answer for it, Abraham. But Moses got it though. It says the more they multiplied, the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. This is why even in captivity, right? You will see that they have to keep on trying to reinvent. They got to keep trying to think about what they says. How you see the multiply said multiply how they multiplied and grew. Jump up to verse 10.
Verse 10. Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply.
You see that? So every time, like as we ain't been in captivity, and they seen how we adapt to their captivity, and they seen how we can, they like in any kind of way that they see that we can take over. Guess what they do? They reinvent something to try to change the narrative. They got to always reinvent. That's why I said it says, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. Meaning what? As we multiply and grew, guess what they gonna do? Every time we adapted to the captivity, they always change the rules. They always change the game because we got smarter and smarter as they try to deal. The smarter they got, the smarter we got.
Con.
The guess what? They tried to make us pick cotton. Guess what we made? The cotton gin.
Con.
Right?
They thought they could break it.
They said every which way that they thought they can get it. Guess what? That's why we the salt of the earth. Every way that they try to stop us, every time we grew, get what they did? They put another stipulation in there because they get their technology and everything from us. Everything's come from us, man. Every time we multiply, every time we multiply, but we multiplied in spirit and in growth. Guess what? Through the Most High, man.
Con.
That's the reason why, man. The children of Israel, man, we are the best, man. Right?
Con.
That's how. Just reading the scriptures, that it should make you feel something, man. That's why I said the more they afflicted us, the more hard work they put on us. Guess what we'll do? We'll find a way to get the hard work out off of us. But instead of us using the spiritual aspect of seeking the Lord, guess what we'll do? We'll tap into a physical attribute, and we'll say that we did it, and we'll still forget about our God.
Con.
Because we're a type of people we can adapt to anything. That's why they can't kill us off, man. Right? And on the physical attribute, guess what? We did multiply, physically multiply, but we spiritually multiply too, right? Because we are intellectual people, man. Right? People they got to thrive through what we give. The world cannot coexist or can't even exist if we don't set the standard of the world. But the thing is, they got to deal wisely with us so they can take charge and say that they are the one that doing it, and they ain't doing the damn thing.
Con.
Right? But let's read on, huh?
You want me to go back down to
Verse 12. Yeah, verse 12.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
Read on.
And they were grieved because the children of Israel.
And they was grieved because the children of Israel. Why? Because why you think, how they say they were grieved because of the children of Israel? What happened? They put taskmasters. We started building pyramids, right? We started building Ramses,
God.
right? And you know that we did this because guess what happened? We came over to America, and our northern tribe brothers did what? Start building pyramids over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's mighty funny that we build pyramids right here the same way they built over there.
God.
But they say we not the same people. Where the hell they get this from, man? Right? We do this though. You see what I'm saying? We literally do this. All right? But it's mighty funny though. They didn't call it when they speaking about us, why they didn't call us, hey, you men and women of Israel? Why they keep saying children of Israel all the time?
God.
Why they always keep saying the children of Israel? Because they know who children we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Verse 13.
Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
This is going to us in captivity, man. Right? And they made us serve with rigor, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is something. Now, you bring it up to this modern day. What you think's happening now? Why do you think brothers getting out of work this late at night trying to run and go do a class?
God.
It's equivalent to ox them running around to the cave to try to keep the high holy days. I'm not comparing our days and time, but I'm just saying how we got to literally make preparation for ourselves to even go to teach class, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's why the time is short, man. That's why going into. That's good that a lot of brothers and sisters they seeking one. They want to have wives, and they want to have. Some brothers and sisters won't, but some brothers won't have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wives, man. But the Lord said the time is short, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 29. Brothers and sisters need to read that, man. Right? That's why the Lord. That's why you think this right now. Thinking about our forefathers. Us thinking about how we supposed to be. Guess what the Lord told us to do? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 22, man. We gotta start with our children, man. Right? It's time for us to try to grow with our children. Hopefully, man. Hopefully, when brothers and sisters got children, some of our children grown, right? I was fortunate enough that I grew my children up in the truth, and they got the chance at least see who the Lord was, right? And for the decision that they make, it's be on it be on them. I can't make the decision for them as a man, but I can definitely train them up the way they can be, right? And still keep leading the charge to be an example, right? And that's what Job did. That's what David did, man. Right? Even the Lord said, man, David was a man of his own heart. The only sin he had with David, only sin David committed was Uriah the Hittite. You know, and it explains it in Psalms. Right? Go to Proverbs 22
and 6.
And verse 6.
God. The book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Right. He said, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart. Meaning what? Children gonna be mischief. They're gonna grow up. They're gonna be doing all kind of stuff, man. Right? It's us as parents. It's us for us to try to keep our children in the right state of mind. But sometimes it's hard to do that because the world is pulling our children. Right? That's why the TVs is pulling our children. The internet is pulling our children. Grandmamas and granddaddies that's not in the truth. Right, the school systems, everything is designed to go for our children to keep on keeping us in the captivity, right?
God.
And a lot of time we don't think about that. We only think about how ourselves supposed to be, but we forget how our children is got the world pulling at them. Jump over to Proverbs 1. Jump over to Proverbs 1 right quick. Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 8. Watch this.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother.
All right, read.
For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck.
So guess what? Thinking about how the Lord said we supposed to do with our children. The Lord called these things an ornament of grace in our head, on our head, right? And a chain on our neck, right? You got to think about how the Lord expected our children to be. We know we like all the gold and silver, and it's basically going into all the things that people would like, right? People like gold and costly array. But these things right here, if you can get our children to see that, guess what? It's going to be a double grace for them, man. Watch this, verse 10.
Verse 10, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not.
So guess what? That's what we need to be trying to teach our children, man. Because there's a lot of sinners that gets doing what? Enticing our children. And we trying to get our children not to consent, man. Right? Through the Spirit of the Lord, man, we know how the world go.
God.
We know how the world go. We know how they fashion them with our children. We know how destruction comes. We know how this whole system is set up. It's not set up for our children to win. Right? Jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15. My son, walk not thou in the path with them. Refrain thy foot from their path.
So guess what? It said, I want to get some more of that. Jump over to verse 11. I read that.
Jump 11. Verse 11. If they say, come with us.
Guess what? And this is what the world teach our children. A lot of times that our children, they find a way to follow the crowd. Y'all understand that? Our children find a way to follow the crowd because the crowd is enticing. It's other children that they think these children their peers. But us as being in the truth, guess what? We kick our children 10 steps ahead. And a lot of times when we kick our children 10 steps ahead because we know now. But sometimes they want to be the same as them. And you done already put them a step ahead. Right?
God.
So what if the crowd tell your children this? Come with us. Guess what a lot of our children gonna do? Go with them.
Mm-hmm.
But let's watch what it say. Read.
Let us lay wait for blood.
It said, let us wait for blood. Meaning what?
Gonna be up to no good.
They gonna be up to no good. Anything somebody else want to do, they ready to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Read.
Let us lurk privately.
Let us, guess what? And that's what it get your children, guess what? Instead of them applying Matthews 18 and 15, now guess what all of a sudden they doing? Talking behind each other back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They right along with the rest of the crowd. Whatever the crowd doing, they doing too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, let us lurk privately for the innocent without a cause, man. Now, the love that they once had, guess what happens? Instead of them having the love, guess what they do? They don't want the love no more. What they'll do, they forget about what real love is. They start hearkening to the world love now. And as they hearkening to the world love, guess what happened? They start hating people without a cause.
Mm-hmm.
That's not permitted in the truth, though. But there's a lot of people that do that, man. There's even camps that hate people without a cause. Like, brother, what the hell you mad at other brothers for, man?
God.
Right? Watch this, man. Read. Verse 12.
Verse 12 from the top. Mm-hmm. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave.
So guess what? They do anything that the crowd doing. If the crowd say, guess what? Let's get them. Guess what they gonna do? Get them. If the crowd say, let's talk about them, guess what they gonna do? Talk about them.
God.
Whatever the world is teaching them, they teaching them the opposite of thus said the Lord. And the Lord got a problem with our own children, right? God. And that's something that we gonna still, guess what? As long as you got an opportunity to instruct your children, you got to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Well, let's read on now.
And whole, as those that go down into the pit.
Right, read.
We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil.
You see that? Now, get what your children out there doing. Robbing, stealing, killing. They full-fledged in the world. And the same children that be full-fledged in the world, guess what they doing? They robbing, stealing, and killing. It says, verse 12 said, let us swallow them all up alive is the grave. Right? Mm-hmm. And the hole. And hole is though they had gone down in the pit. So if you put somebody in the pit, that means the person can't get out. Right? That means our children straight putting each other in the trick bags, man. Mm-hmm. Right? And then as they put each other in the trick bag, that's what the very next place, they shall find all precious substance and shall fill our houses with spoil. Now we got our children out here stealing, they out here killing, they out here doing all kind of abominable things that the Lord trying to get our children not to do.
God.
Right?
God.
Verse 14.
Verse 14. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. Meaning
what? They all on one consent to kill, steal, and destroy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Verse 15.
Verse 15. My son, walk not thou in the way with them.
So guess what? This is what we need to be trying to tell our children.
God.
Hell no, don't go with them. But a lot of us, guess what? We so wrapped up in what we got going on, we don't even tell our children nothing, man.
God.
We just let our children go do whatever they want to do. But as parents on our watch, guess what? We got to keep on fighting, man.
God.
We got to keep fighting, man. It says, after all of that, it says, my son. It said, walk not after them, man. Read.
Refrain thy foot from their path.
He said, refrain your foot. Guess what? Sometimes we got to tell our children, hey, no, man, you can't go with them.
God.
You ain't going around with them. No.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes as parents, we got to step in and say that. Whether they like it or not. No, you ain't going there.
That's how we was raised.
No. But guess what? Some of our parents, guess what some people as parents, what we do? We don't care. You know, if them children grown and stuff like that, sometimes it's hard to talk to them to tell them something. But when they in your house, and guess what? No, you're not doing it. If you won't do that, go find you somewhere else to go. You can't do it here. Right?
God.
Well, let's read on, now.
Verse 16. For their feet run to evil.
He said, don't walk after their path because their feet run to evil. Meaning what? Guess what? Telling your children, no, don't go there. These niggas they ain't doing but wicked.
God.
They doing what the hell they want to do. Right? Read.
And make haste to shed blood.
And they make haste to shed blood. They'll do anything. When you make haste, that means these niggas are killed. These youngsters out here killing.
God.
Right? Read.
Mm-hmm. Surely in vain the nets is spread in the sight of any bird.
I mean, it said the net is spread in the sight of any bird. That means anybody can get it.
God.
These are the youngsters feel. They feel like anybody can get it.
God.
They wish a nigga would. This is breaking down how our youth is, and guess what? We carry that same weight up into an old man. Right? But read on.
And they lay wait for their own blood.
And they lay wait for their own blood. Read.
They lurk privily for their own lives.
Guess what? They said they ain't doing nothing but leading their own self to destruction.
God.
They thinking that they doing it good. Oh man, they got all kind of spoiled. Verse 13 said they got all kind of precious substance, and they fill our houses with spoil. Meaning they got everything. They killing and stuff, and they going back and they bringing this stuff home. They got everything. No. Right? He said, surely in vain they spread out nets. He said they lay wait for their own blood. They ain't doing nothing but killing themselves, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Verse 19.
Verse 19. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain.
You see how that go? Because this is the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
The world we live in is a coveted place, man. Everybody greedy of gain. Everybody want to come up. Everybody want to be the next hit on TikTok, the next wonder, the next this, the next that. Hell, I'm fighting to still get 1,000 goddamn subscribers on TikTok. Hell.
God.
But I'm gonna go hard as hell at these damn Christians when I get to 1,000. Don't worry about it. It's gonna make it. But that's the life we live. That's the life we live, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is our children. And the world teaching our children to be greedy of gain.
God.
Right? And teaching our children to have an eye to want, guess what? The world. Not to want our God. Because a lot of our people don't like to take responsibility because the Lord put responsibility on us, man. Right? Don't you know it's literally taught that the Lord say that it's literally saying that the Lord told us we got to teach all our children, man, to know the Lord, not the world, man. Because the world is who it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what it says? So are they ways everyone that is greedy of gain, man, right? Mm-hmm. Read on.
Which taketh away the life of the owners thereof.
You see that? This lifestyle that the world trying to make our children to live, they making our children to die early.
God.
Let's go to Ecclesiastes, man. This world is teaching our children how to die early, man. And we try to teach our children how to live, man. Ecclesiastes chapter 6, man. Chapter 7, Shalaki. In verse 17.
Okay. The book of Ecclesiastes.
Start at verse 16.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to start. Book of Ecclesiastes. Chapter 7, verse 16. Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise.
Said, don't make yourself over wise. Meaning what? Don't try to think you gon' make sense of this world. And guess what? And everybody that listened to our forefathers, they did it good in the sight of the Lord. And everybody that did not listen to our forefathers, they did it wrong in the sight of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time, brothers. Every time. Right?
God.
Read.
Why shouldest thou destroy thyself?
The Lord said, why should you have to destroy yourself, man? Because there's a lot of people, guess what? They working hard to do what? Destroy their damn self, man. Read.
Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time?
Because this is what the world teaching our children to do, to die before that time, man.
God.
And we fighting to try to keep our children out of this, man.
God.
But sometimes our children want that, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's Job. That's Ezekiel 14. Brothers and sisters need to make sure y'all lock in, especially when you're dealing with your children. Ezekiel chapter 14, you read verse 12 on down to 19, 20, 21, like that. It said, though Noah, Job, and Daniel was in it, they can say, he said, if the Lord sent a northern beast through the field, they can't save nobody but themselves through their own righteousness, right? But the only thing we can try to do for our children is do what? Is to try to teach them the right way, man. Right? What you read? Verse 17? Verse 18.
Verse 18. It is good that thou shouldest take hold of this.
Right?
Yea, also from this withdraw not thy hand.
So withdraw not thy hand, read.
For he that feareth God shall come forth of them all.
So guess what? All our children can get past all of this stuff that's going on in the world if we do what? Keep God's commandments.
God.
And that's what we trying to get our children to see, man. Right? Christ told us to be like little children.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Matthew chapter 19 right quick. See what they say.
That's a good point, too.
What's it?
Now, what you're just saying, because with this precept right here, what they tell the kids, you only live one, what, YOLO?
Mm-hmm.
But if they knew that they could die before their time, maybe they would beseech themselves a little bit.
Shit. They don't give a damn. They live fast and die young, man.
That's what Kanye had that song called that mother. You ain't lying.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 13.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 13. Then were they brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them.
And he rebuked him. Right, read.
But Yahushua said, suffer little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven.
Right, read.
And he laid his hands on them and departed this.
So guess what? Christ is sitting up here trying to tell them, look, this is the same thing our forefathers were trying to do. You got to know the Lord.
God.
Right? Guess what? The disciples, they taught many, but guess what? You got to teach the children too. Go to Isaiah 54 right quick. Isaiah 54 in verse 13.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 13. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord.
What? No, some of our children.
And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord.
It said, all thy children shall be taught of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What you think Christ was doing, man? It's telling us all the children shall be taught of the Lord.
God.
They got to know who the Lord is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, guess what? I'm thankful that, guess what? Whether my children depart from the truth or whether they stay in the truth, they know the Lord. That's their choice now.
God.
I gave. Guess what, man? Exactly what the Lord told me to do with the children, I did it. And that's what brothers and sisters should be striving to do. Right? Should be striving to teach the children. Guess what, man? And let them make their own. Okay, hey, I taught you. And guess what? I ain't gonna feel a way about it. Right?
God.
And he said, all the children shall be taught of the Lord. Read.
God. And great shall be the peace of thy children.
And that's what he's trying to do for the children. And guess what? The disciples couldn't see it.
God.
The Lord's trying to bring peace in the children's life, right? That's why he had to go teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
God.
Read on.
Verse 14. In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression. For thou shalt not fear, and from terror. For it shall not come near thee.
You see that? This is what when Christ was teaching the children, what do you think he teaching them? He reading the prophets on what they saying. He's telling them, thus said Yahweh the power. Right? He said, in righteousness shalt thou establish, and thou shalt be far from oppression. You think Christ is teaching our children like, no, man, you should know the oppression. And no. Christ is bringing thus said the Lord to them, man.
God.
He teaching them not to fear. He getting the fear out of our children, man. From terror, right? That should come near thee, man. Read on.
Verse 15, behold, they shall surely gather together,
right?
But not by me.
But not by me, read.
Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake.
So this is why Christ had to go teach the children. Because if he did not teach the children, everybody that does not do this, guess what? Gonna fall for Christ's sake.
Good.
You gonna fall. You got to go do this. Right?
Good.
This is something that has to happen, man. Right?
Good.
Watch this. Go to 2 Timothy, man. Chapter 3.
Alright.
Start at verse 14.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 14. Alexander the coppersmith Salaki. I'm reading chapter 4, verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse.
You say evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse. Meaning what? Nobody wants to teach the children. Let me see something right quick. It said nobody wants to teach the children. What the hell?
I think he's going to his garage.
Salaki. It says, be continue thou in this thing which thou hast learned. You had 2 Timothy chapter 3.
Timothy 3 and 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived.
Right, because there's so many people that don't want to teach the children.
Yep.
Right, they don't even want to teach. Guess what? Why you think we keep telling that the older generation failed us?
God.
And why you think we keep telling that we not gonna fail? And guess what? And if you are older brother or sister, guess what? You don't be one of the ones that's not. You don't be one of the ones that's giving in. Is making our children fail too.
God.
Right. Verse 14.
Verse 14. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned.
Right, read.
And hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them.
Guess what? We got to know. Guess what? You got the things that you learning. Guess what? If a brother or sister, guess what? An older man or woman, you done came into the truth. Guess what? You got to still teach your children to know the Lord. If they don't want to hear it, guess what? Hey, 2 or 3 times, they reject. Hey, I did my job.
Good.
Should I keep on just bashing them down with the precepts over and over again? No. I did my job.
Good.
All right. But read, verse 15.
Verse 15. And that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures.
Because guess what? If a brother and sister get a chance to give your children the truth, just like I think my children, it says like, because a lot of times I say when I do classes for myself too. You know, I do classes for my family. I do classes for bros and she-bros that want to have these classes. I do classes for whoever, if brothers and sisters write in, they say whatever class they want brothers to do, just let us know. We do classes for these things, man. And I even do classes for myself. Why would I not? Why would I not try to build up brothers? If I'm building up brothers and sisters' spirit, I'm trying to get my spirit built up too through the precepts, man.
God.
Right? Every teacher you see online, they trying to build their spirit up too. Right? And it says and that from a child that has known the holy scriptures, read.
Which are able to make thee wise unto salvation.
To make our children wise. That's why we need to try to teach, especially if you got an opportunity to teach your children. These things make your children wise, man. Right?
Good.
The scriptures make our children wise. Right? Read on.
Unto salvation.
Unto salvation, read.
Through faith, which is in Hamashiach Yahushua.
This goes back into the Isaiah 54, also letting them know they all got to be taught about what? The Lord. They got to know the Lord, man.
God.
It's what it boils down to. Our children got to know the Lord. If they don't know the Lord, they gonna lose. Deuteronomy 6, they gonna lose.
6 and 7, right?
Start at verse 6.
Okay.
They got to know the Lord. Our children got to know Him. And if they not knowing Him, guess what's our job to try to? Hey, I'm gonna tell you.
God.
But if you reject, hey, that's on you too, though. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart.
It shall be in our hearts, read.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
And we should teach the precept diligently unto our children, man. Right, read.
And shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house.
Guess what, man? So when the children sit in your house, you should try to give them the precepts, man. Read.
And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Guess what? If you want to be a good man or a good woman in the truth, guess what? Especially having little small children that's in the house, you should try to give them this, man. This is our job. This is our duty. To try to give our children the best that we can give them. Sometimes our children full-fledged reject the scriptures, man. Hey, I done gave you thus said the Lord, right? I done gave it to you. But guess what? And if they don't get it, guess what happened? It's not on you. You gave them thus said the Lord. Why you think the Lord killed Job's family, man? Right? Killed his children off. But you think when he was making atonement for them children, he made atonement and he understood. No, this shit good. Yeah, that's just that other.
Okay. I can turn that more back on.
No, it's good.
You sure?
Yeah. I got the thing. It's good.
Alright.
He was making, like you say, Job was making atonement for his children. But guess what? When the Lord stepped in, guess what happened? Job had to move out the way.
God.
All praises. And guess what? I still try to feed my children with the word too. Because our children gonna grow up and do a lot of stuff that we ain't never taught them. Because guess what? We grew up doing a lot of stuff that our parents never taught us either. But do that make us wrong? Hell yeah, they made us wrong. Did we have to learn the hard way? Hell yeah, we had to learn the hard way. And guess what? Sometimes our children want to learn the hard way too. We pray for them. Right? Proverbs chapter 13, man. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes.
Right? So it goes into what? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Right?
God.
But a lot of times, sometimes brothers and sisters don't want to do what?
Don't want to whoop.
They don't want to whoop. They don't want to whoop. And guess what? And then when the children get older, they start cussing you out. Try to start talking to you any kind of way. Guess what happened? Now you looking crazy. Now you looking crazy.
God.
Guess what? I remember when my dad had the police. My daddy whooped our butt in front of the police, and the police was like, "If they say you child abuse, we gonna take your ass to jail." That's how they told my daddy that. And get what my daddy told him. He said, "If you take them children, you can have them."
Hey.
And he said, "Cause when they grow up and call you a mother MF," he said, "when they start calling you an MF right now, guess what's gonna happen when they get older? They gonna be the MF." And get what he did? Turned his stupid ass, walking around, walked away. Because sometimes people get in folks' business like that, and you know you trying to raise your children. You got to correct your children, man. Right? This is the only way we can help them to grow. Proverbs 23.
23 and 14?
I'm going to go up a little bit higher.
All right.
Jump up to verse 12.
All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 12. Apply thy heart unto instruction.
So guess what? This is what we should be trying to. And now as a child, guess what a child do? A child is more of a sponge than an adult. Because an adult gets set in their ways, and that's what they going to do. But a child, guess what? If we can get them to apply their heart to the instruction, we can get them to listen early. Guess what? When they get older, they have no problem by listening. You don't want to get whooped to the point that you have to make you listen. That ain't what you want to do. But some of us, guess what's in the truth? We don't got whooped so much, we ain't got no choice but to listen now, right? But let's read.
Good. Apply thy heart unto instruction,
right?
And thy ears to the words of knowledge.
And thy ears to the words of knowledge. This is something we need to be trying to do. All right, just read.
God, withhold not correction from the child.
You said withhold not correction from the child, man. Read.
For if thou beatest him with the rod,
what the Lord say?
He shall not die.
He ain't gonna die. You got to put this Sirach 30 and verse 11 through 13 beside that. Because the Lord told you to beat them on the sides. My children put their precept on me. So I'll whoop their ass every which way I can get them. From the head to the feet, I'll tear their ass up when they were little. They pulled that Sirach chapter 30 and verse 11 through 13. Tell you need to beat your children on the side. They give you instruction on how to whoop the children. Get what? I wanted so bad to keep on doing what I was doing. I had to hearken to the precepts, man. It is what it is, man. You just can't you can't run shit your way. You gonna lose.
Good.
Right?
Good.
He said if you beat them with the rod, they won't die, man. Verse 14.
Verse 14. Thou shalt beat him with the rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell.
And it says he shall deliver his soul from hell. This is what we trying to get our children to do.
Good.
We trying to deliver our children's soul from hell, man. Right? Going through torture. Going through torment, man.
Good.
Right? Jump over to Proverbs 19, man.
19 and 18?
Yes, sir. Don't overbeat me, man, because I might go higher.
It's like it. He's trying to have them precepts ready for you.
Big con.
The book of Sirach, you want me to go higher?
Jump up to verse 13.
All right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 13.
Watch this.
A foolish son is the calamity of his father.
Now, what do you think that means to brothers and sisters? He said a foolish son is calamity to his father. That meaning what? This child right here, hey, bring him nothing but grief. Right? Read.
Good. And the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping.
But this is how I meant. Yeah. This is how a man is. This is how a man can be brought low. This is how a man can be broken. Right? From a foolish son and from a contention wife. These two things right here, I'm tell all sisters, this is right here can break a man. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, everybody talks about the love of a mother. I'm going to tell you, real men love their children. Say this again. It's nothing. A real men love their children. It's nothing like a love that a father has for a child. Just like not taking away from the mother's love, because the mother's love is the nourishing love. But the love of the father, his love comes with correction. His love comes with building and understanding. We are the one that's gonna try to protect the child from the world, and the mother gonna try to nourish the child from the wounds of the world. That's the difference between the two, right?
Come on.
And this is how we build, not just as a nation. This is how we build to teach the world on how to be for for our children, right? Because the world gonna, if the world whooped my great 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 grandfather, and it whooped my great great grandfather, and it whooped my grandfather, and it whooped my daddy, and it's whooping me, what you think it's gonna do for our children? It's gonna be hard for them, man.
I was just talking to my wife about the Lord, man.
Right? Now we jump down.
Come on. Verse 18.
Verse 18, read.
Chasten thy son while there is hope.
So while you got time,
Mm-hmm.
it says, chasten your son while there's hope. Meaning, guess what? As a grown man, it's no chastising a grown man. Because guess what? You find yourself trying to fight them boys, they mess around, whoop your ass now.
Mm-hmm.
That's real talk, man. These kids mess around, whoop your ass, man. Hey. And we hope that brothers understand it. Because guess what? Our strength as men, guess what? As my age, and I'm in my 40s, my children in their 20s. And they in their late teens, meaning they 18, 19, and my oldest is in 20. As my strength is diminishing, their strength is growing. They even reached their peak yet of their strength. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say chasten your son while there is hope. Meaning that when you got time, if you have an opportunity to straighten that stuff out now, this is the time to do it.
Come on.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Read on now.
And let not thy soul spare for his crime.
So guess what? I don't give a damn how much he cry. I don't care how much daddy I won't do it no more. No, you got to go on ahead and tax him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let this, it said, man, it says, and let not thy soul spare for his crime. You don't care about how much they crying, no. We ain't gonna give in.
Mm-hmm.
No. You doing this thing the wrong way. Alright? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 5.
Come on.
Everything is predestined in a sense, though. Everything is predestined in a sense. That's where grace come from. Those that didn't have an opportunity at one time, guess what they got now? Everybody has an opportunity until the king come back. So it is a predestined in a sense, right? Because the chosen is the chosen.
Come on.
Right? Hebrews chapter 5, started verse 11. Started verse 5. It's chapter 12, verse 5.
Come on, the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 5. Mm-hmm. And ye have forgotten the extortion, which speaketh unto you as unto children.
So he
exhortation.
Exhortation.
Yeah, I said extortion. Exhortation.
Real.
I had to think about that. I said, whoa, wait a minute. We ain't got to extort the children. I'll read it from the top. 5 from the top. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children.
Jump up to verse 4.
Verse 4. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
This is what we was reading earlier. That's why the Lord said, don't follow them, man.
Mm-hmm.
Going blood for blood. This is literally what we was reading earlier, man.
God.
In chapter 1, man. Proverbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But read on.
Verse 5. and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children.
Right, read.
My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of
So
him.
this is what a lot of our children do now. A lot of our children now, when they get rebuked, they start getting they start building up a hatred in their heart because the world teach them that. But that's the reason why the father is hated the most.
Okay.
And as the father being hated the most, guess what? That's how growth leaves the house, leaves the home, man. And we trying to get our children to get a better understanding on how life goes, man.
Come.
Well, let's read it up.
Come. Verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth,
What he do?
he chasteneth,
He chastening, read.
and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth.
Right, and every son that he received, guess what? He gonna try him. He gonna make sure that they gonna be good for him, man. Because everybody that serve the Lord, everybody that say they love the Lord is not gonna serve the Lord. The Lord looking for service. He ain't looking for the Lord ain't looking. The Lord looking for servants. He ain't looking for somebody that's gonna run their mouth, man. Just saying something. Is you gonna do the work though? Right? Read.
Every son whom he receive. Verse 7. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons.
So he said, if you endure chastening, God dealing with you as he dealing with son. Meaning, guess what? He can use you. Right? Read.
For what son is he whom the father chasteneth not?
So guess what? This is what real men do. We chasten and correct our children. That's why the men is hated so much. That's why the Lord said they hated him that rebuked it in the gate. Who is that? That's the father.
God.
They gonna always have a hatred towards us. Them children gonna have some kind of resentment towards us. And a lot of time they gonna run to mama and talk to mama instead of coming to daddy. And daddy got to be the one that pick up the pieces. But if we can fix our children to come to the father to get before the pieces get broken, we can cut a whole step out. But sometimes our children want to go through that. So sometimes this is the reason why you see fathers pull back and let our children go through stuff. And ooh, he wrong. No, he ain't wrong. This man teaching them something. Next time when you need something, you're gonna come to the right one. Because like I said, the mother nourished from the wounds of the world. And what the father does what?
Bring discipline and protection.
Gonna bring discipline and protection before he gonna correct them before he make it to the world. So you ain't got to have those wounds. Read on. Verse 8.
Verse 8. But if ye be without chastisement.
But guess what? What if you don't correct your children? This is how menstruous women bring forth monsters. Right? Read.
Whereof all are partakers, then ye are bastards, and not sons.
So guess what, man? That's why you say, man, that bastard going out there doing everything. Yeah.
Dang, that's Scarface. If I down to be a bastard.
Yeah. That's a real thing.
Yeah, that's real talk. That's what it made me think of.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Verse 9.
Verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us.
You see that? Brothers, we got to be the fathers in flesh, literally presenting ourselves to correct us, to correct them. Read.
And we gave them reverence.
And this is what we father do. We're going to give them reverence. Read.
Shall we not much rather be subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?
Right, so guess what? Meaning what? We going to be led by the Spirit. Guess what? When we correcting our children and when we guiding our household, we going to be led by the Spirit to do those things, man. Watch this. Read.
Verse 10. For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure. Read. But he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness.
Meaning what? Meaning what? Let me see where you at, Ehud. Meaning what?
That's Isaiah 53 and 10.
I need to understand what it's telling me.
Well, okay. So it's just like Christ. Christ got chastened. He bruised Christ for
Don't
his
give me
own
a long
pleasure.
one. I just need you to get straight to it.
Yeah, he bruised Christ for his own pleasure. So the stuff we get is light compared to what Christ
Exactly.
went through. Yeah.
If the Lord bruised his own child for a pleasure to get a nation of people back to the grace of him, what do you think he gonna do for us?
God.
Yeah. You got
You have to deal with that.
have to deal with it.
God.
Read on.
Verse 11. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous.
It said no chat, because guess what? That's why the Lord got mad at us every time we did what we wanted to do that was right in our own eyes. The Lord was mad
God.
about that, man. And we not trying to make our children mad. Read.
Nevertheless.
Make the Lord mad. Read.
Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Meaning what? When they didn't spare the rod and we didn't spare the rod, guess what? You get those peaceable fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You get those they taught knowing who the Lord is.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that the Lord pleased with that thing, man.
God.
I'm talking about he literally pleased with that thing, man.
God.
Right? Jump over Ephesians right quick. Let me show y'all something right quick. That's why, brothers, when you lead your household and you doing what you're supposed to do in this truth, it's stipulations in this, though. Go to Ephesians, man, chapter 6. Start at verse 1. Man.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
So guess what? It said, children, obey your parents in the Lord. Right? For this is right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is finna tell us a true statement. Watch this read.
Honor thy father.
It said, honor the father
and mother.
And mother.
Which is the first commandment with promise.
This is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12, man. Right? This is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12. You got your honor father, honor mother. This is the first commandment with promise. Meaning promise of what?
God.
Promise of what?
Oh, well, if you do it, you're going to live long.
You're going to live. If you don't, guess what's going to happen?
You're out of there.
Your ass is grass.
God.
And the Most High God is the lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
Verse 3. That it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth.
That's right. And it says, make it. That's why I say it's the first commandment that has the promise that you're going to either live or die.
God. Choose one this day.
Right?
God.
Verse 4.
Verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath.
So guess what? What that mean? What that mean?
You can't just come in the house and you step on a car and you just socking your kids out for it.
You just can't sock them out like that. You got to bring some understanding.
God.
You got to bring understanding.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Don. 1 Kings chapter 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1 through 4, how King David taught Solomon how to get down, man. Keep the commandments, man.
Well, y'all know the spirit like a mother.
Right? Verse 4.
Verse 4 from the top. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture.
In the nurture.
And admonition of the Lord.
And guess what? They to know the Lord.
God.
They got to know the Lord, man.
Got to.
Our children's job is to know the Lord. Guess what? If a brother teaches his children to know the Lord, you did your job. And guess what? The Bible commends brothers for doing it, man. Then our children to know who the Lord is, man. Go to Colossians 3, man. Saying the same thing. Colossians 3 and verse 20.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 20. Children, obey your parents in all things.
Going into the same thing that we was reading in Ephesians chapter 6, man. Read.
For this is well pleasing unto the Lord.
Say the Lord is well pleased for that. Right? It's a well pleasing thing, right? But read on.
Fathers, provoke not your children to anger.
So the same thing we just got finished reading. It said, provoke not our children to anger, man. Read.
lest they be discouraged.
That would discourage our children, man. When you mistreating and abusing them children, they'll discourage our children, man.
God.
And that's what the Lord don't want us to do, man. Our job is men to try to build them children, man, up with honor and humility, man.
God.
Right? It's Proverbs right quick, man. Chapter 18. That's how we supposed to be teaching, man. We supposed to be teaching our children honor and humility. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 18, verse 12, right quick.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility.
And before a child get honor, you got to teach your children what? Humility. They got to have humbleness and they got to be meek, man, to be able to get this thing, man. God. And that's something as men that we got to do. We got to focus in to try to get our children to understand. Right? We got to. This is our job. We got to meet the quote on this thing, man.
God.
Right? Let's go to 1 John right quick. Got to teach our children this thing, man. It's our job as men. Once we get it, they got it, we good.
God.
That's why the Lord, when he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, when he brought the children of Israel out of the wilderness, he killed all the old off. He couldn't use them no more. 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1.
The book of John, chapter 4, the book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit.
Guess what? And this is what we got to teach our children too, to have discernment. Right? It goes into the same thing Ezekiel chapter 44 and verse 23 is going into. How to discern between the clean and unclean. Discern between the holy and the profane. Right? That's why I said believe not every spirit, man. Right? Read.
But try the spirit.
It said, but try the spirit, read.
Whether they are of God.
Whether they of God, right? Read.
Because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
And guess what? It's a lot of people that think they got the answer and they don't have the answer. Right? A lot of our children don't have thus said the Lord, man.
God.
And these same children, guess what? They try to teach your children. And that's the funny thing about it. Jump over to 3 John, verse 14.
The book of 3 John, chapter 1, verse 13. Raging waves of the sea.
I know. 3 John 1 and 14.
1 and 14, Salakia. And Enoch also.
3 John?
Yeah, 3 John.
1:14.
Oh.
Damn, you keep
I'm reading Jews. Salakia.
I'm like, dang, what the hell are you talking about?
My bad, Salakia. The book of 1, you want me to go back to 13?
No, I told you 14.
All right. The book of 3 John, chapter 1, verse 14.
It's like twin. No, it's not in there. Shit.
Nah, that Jude right there.
Yeah, what the hell?
That right on top of that mug. But I trust I shall shortly see thee, and we shall speak face to face.
I read.
Peace be to thee.
Right.
Our friends salute thee. Greet the friends by name.
So guess what? When I just thinking about how the Lord is literally speaking with us, right? And he's finna explain to you, watch this, to get the proper friends. Jump up to verse 4.
Verse 4. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth.
This is what we need to have our children to do.
That's tough, I like that.
Is to walk in truth. And if we can get our children to do that, man, well, we have a way to the kingdom, man. Right? Let's go to Deuteronomy, man. This is the last precept, man. This is the law too, man. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 19, man. I hope brothers and sisters been edified today, man. Just kind of going to a little quick class, you know. Especially, you know, dealing with our children. We got to have these classes lined up, man. You know, classes dealing with our children. Got to have them things line up, man.
Con. Deuteronomy chapter 11.
Become. Yeah, 11 verse 19, 20, 21, like that.
All right. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 19. And ye shall teach them, your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thy house,
Right.
and when thou walkest by the way.
Saying the same thing Deuteronomy 6 is saying, man. 6 and 7, read.
When thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Read on.
And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates.
That's verse 8 and 9, read.
That your days may be multiplied.
Same thing Sirach chapter 3 and verse 6 is saying. And same thing Deuteronomy chapter 6 is Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 6 to 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Like that.
And Lamentation 2 and 1.
And Lamentation. Right? Read.
And the days of your children in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth.
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. Y'all like and y'all share the video. Y'all help us push this truth around the four corners of the earth. Thank y'all, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. Everybody that gave to the cause. Help us keep pushing this truth, man. Thank y'all, brothers and sisters, man. I know I went over the hour power. Like you say, got Soldier E. Hood.
Shalom.
And with that, we give our honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahushua. Y'all keep the commandments live. Yeah. Just a little word for the children and for the parents that have the children. And with that, we're going to say shalom.
Shalom. Dedication's coming.
Dedication coming.